afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast from me, your host, Imperial Dane, Master Propaganda Hero Strike, Defender of the Fatherland. We're off here to a 1 vs 1 on Crossroads. Between the south, we got here Frost fighting for the Soviet Union and the 215th Rifle Division versus the north, we got Gentlefox fighting for the Oberkommando West, Germany, Deutschland. Most Gentlefoxes here. With the 315th Volksgrenadier Division, with fortification dogs and chosen infantry and Kugelwagons versus Guard Motor, Guard Rifle, and Terror Tactics with infantry and Molotov bulletins there for Frost. Heading east and west here with his initial opening movements. Frost going hard west with a lot of conscripts. Noting, by the way, which could say not indicate he might be playing Guard Rifle, though it is rare to see. I mean, it wouldn't mesh very well with the conscript heavy build. Sandbags being set up there. Volksgrenadier moving ahead, and there we go, pushing up these as well for the fuel point. Bit of an aggressive spread there. I mean, there's certainly chinks in this kind of army here that Gentlefox was sending where Frost could slip in and do some serious harm there to Gentlefox. We can certainly see here that Frost is taking no chance with any push for his cut-off point, but of course could be what Gentlefox is planning with his own Volksgrenadier. Constant coming up into line of fire. There we go. We got rifle shots here in the south points being secured, and we almost got the fuel point here. No additional troops there for Gentlefox. That's probably going to be more Volksgrenadiers there. No sign of Kugelwagens here in the early game. And there we go. Third squad with a third squad of conscripts for Frost as well. Securing the west there pretty easily and making a bigger push towards the east there, where currently Gentlefox is actually pretty weak. Again, he's got forces here, forces there, and a single Storm Pioneer squad here. But a sort of more direct push from Frost towards here will be quite difficult for him to deal with. So in that regard, I mean, at the same time, just doing nothing there, it's actually pretty risky for Gentlefox. I mean, if you're the Oberkommando spreading out, you want to play aggressively, you want to force the opponent to react to your movements. But so far, he's sort of got a weird spread, yet defensive opening here, which I would not call the most efficient sort of startup there for the Oberkommando West. Third Volksgrenadier squad there on the way, arriving. There you go, shots fired. Storm Pioneers versus conscripts assault rifles. They're getting them pulling back towards the sandbags there. Storm Pioneers to close in there. They should probably be able to do it. If other conscripts arrive in time, though, they might be able to sort of aid. And there you go, rushing towards the house instead, ignoring the sandbags. Probably realizing that's going to be a bad idea. And there we go, with the arrival of the second conscript squad here, the tides turn, and Gentlefox Storm Pioneers are forced to fall back. But from this, they're just completely outgunned here, so doubt they'll be able to last long. Gentlefox here going very heavily on the defensive there, which really strikes me as an odd choice. I mean, they do get he plays fortification, but there's a difference between defensive play and then fortifications play, and then just completely in there where there's no real action. I mean, that's sort of the odd choice I think there for Gentlefox. I mean, there's nothing really happening towards in. It's not focused on where fuel points are lying. So I'm not so sure what's going on there with Gentlefox, but it certainly is a bit of a weird opening there. We got a fourth Volksgrenadier squad on the way for him. Frost has yet to opt for anything further. Looks like we got some early Molotovs. Early Molotovs and field infirmary there. Emphasizing on upgrading his troops to sort of give them a bit more lethality and firepower. Sandbags going down the fuel point there. Good work. And up here, Engineers halted by a Volksgrenadier squad. But again, Gentlefox has got like 50% of his force here, not really doing much. And there we go. More now happening, but still, it does feel a bit weird. Try there for Gentlefox. I'll probably the battle group headquarters here for the 315th. Conscript Volksgrenadier been flanking, trying to flank him behind the conscript, more attacking from the front. Push towards the west here. We got Engineer squad versus the Volksgrenadiers here. They could probably try and sit around behind the light cover there by the fences. And that unit could grab the centre victory point or push for the cut-off point. There you go, counter-attack from Gentlefox. Quickly rebuffs one of Frost's conscript squads, pushing them on into heavy cover. Continues the assault here. Alright, wir müssen vorwärts. What about cover? Don't mind it. Don't mind Ludwig dying either. We can do this for Germany. Quick Molotov here, pretty much making this a pretty bad idea for him. They're also slightly bad for Frost, since some of his main catch on fire is probably through the basically a bit too close here. Folks, they're going to win out here. They've got a sort of decent cover position against the Engineers in the house. And going for the centre there, we've got Molotovs against the Volksgrenadiers there. Making good use of the Molotovs there to gain edges, in the engagement here with some of his troops. So in this case, doesn't quite seem to work out. Ultimately, though, was caught a bit out in the open, it would seem, by Gentlefox's Volksgrenadiers. But also, I think it was just a bit of a weak squad in the first place. Either way, though. Close there, and over here, Engineers pushed back. Gentlefox now being pretty good progress. Battle group headquarters by the cut-off point. They'll probably afford retreat points, so you can more effectively guard that one. For Frost, we got the support weapon company here. Maximus mortars could be quite handy here. And continued pressure here. The Volksgrenadiers taking up position in the house. Rifle shots flying out the windows against the Engineers exposed out in the open. And there you go, retreat going on. This right now, Gentlefox is enjoying an infantry advantage over Frost. A lot of Volksgrenadiers. Plus Storm Pioneers, he's got double Engineers. So it rather gives the edge here to Gentlefox who pushes it aggressively enough. You got sandbags going up here around Frost viewpoint, and you got troops moving up here in the west. Maximum on the way there for Frost. Bit of support weapon pound fire there, should definitely do well there versus Gentlefox. Holding up here. I guess he doesn't want to, lay down fresh sandbags, and there you go, the assault is on. And there you go, we got the full scores pushed back here by the angry conscripts. And back here, healing reinforcement going on. No fort retreat point here for Gentlefox as of yet. And no real sign of destruction either. I mean, no S-mines, no trenches, tank traps, or, well, obviously no flat emplacements because they're kind of rubbish. They could, of course, theoretically, well, obviously can't build it anyways now. So obviously it's sort of a bit more theoretical. Down the road, you can, of course, also set up bunkers. We'll have to see what he ends up with. But sandbags here now to defend the fuel point the other way. Grabbing the point here, could lay down some sandbags around here. That would also, I think, be pretty good. Maxim setting up there. Getting ready for a big push here for Gentlefox. Volksgrenadiers, Sturmpioniere, Fort Retreat point. And we got assault rifles that are being equipped from the Volksgrenadiers. Engineers being engaged. As German infantry marches through. There we go. More assault rifles here for Gentlefox's Volksgrenadiers. A Sturmzug, if you will. Fortunately, they're pulling back from behind the heavy cavalry again. Could push them forward, approach and Molotov them and flush them out. Fighting in the centre, Molotov would not be, I think, a bad choice here for Frost. It would help sort of flush out some of the Gentlefox's defensive positions, could provide smoke. No incendiary grenade, though, from Frost. It actually came from Gentlefox instead. In this case, I think it sort of slightly hit some of Gentlefox's men. So this could easily, yeah, this is going to be, I think, Frost win here. Gentlefox threw it too close. And there you go, flamethrowers, Molotovs off. He's getting all the fire on the church, all of it. Sergei, maybe we should tone it down with the fire. No, I want all of the fire. All of it. And of course, no one is asking questions about the dead British men here. So what about those? You know what they say, Dimitri? Blessed be the small mind. Don't ask questions if you know what is good for you. Fox's jumper setting up in the brick house. A lot of assault rifles that cover all range. Of course, a bit of Molotov fire there as well. Hurting them, and there you go. Flamethrowers pushing out into the open. Maxim, I think, has advanced. There you go. Attacking troops around the Cove Point. And the Battle Group headquarters. Very good move there. Sturmfox will get wiped. There's going to be a huge loss there for Gentlefox. Gets them killed. There we go. Wiped. Quite a loss there for Gentlefox. It's going for the light infantry gun. The troops are getting pinned down by the Battle Group headquarters. Losses are piling up, and medics are just watching. Maybe we should help them. I mean, we are medics. Yeah, we are medics, but you know, regulations and everything. We can't, patch people who are already critically wounded up. I don't know why, it's just how it is. Troops are healing, reinforcing, field gun moving up there for Frost.
Enemy forces capturing supply
Grabbing the
sector.
munitions. But Volksgrenadiers was sort of one of the first new formations to be heavily equipped with assault rifles. As a fun fact, though, even of course technically they didn't quite always get it. But in theory, the organisation was sort of about you'd have like storm companies and regular companies, and then the storm companies you'd then have sort of two squads of, well, assault rifle equipped infantry, and then one sort of more regularly equipped with light machine guns, and then sort of the other companies were sort of more equipped with well, like a regular grenadier unit. Sort of as a fun fact there, basically meant to back up the assault platoons, and the regular companies were meant to back up the assault companies. That's sort of one of the things. Another sort of thing about the Volksgrenadier division was they had sort of Volksartillerie, which was sort of more an attempt to copy the Soviet artillery form. That is, they just had a lot of guns of varying sort of calibers and just firing away. Obviously, they couldn't quite copy it because they didn't just have that much artillery, but they still sort of tried. So basically, in the sense, meant so while would have more artillery than sort of previous German units, they couldn't partly effectively utilize it because they didn't get the equipment sort of communicate effectively with it as well. So that gave them some problems. We got a tank for tank come out of here for Frost. That's going to be good. Some light armor there could, I think, pack quite a few holes there in Gentlefox and the 315th Volksgrenadier Division. Sandbags up here to help defend the Battle Group headquarters and the cut off there. And there you go, big assault incendiary grenade will be helpful. He's moving straight up into cover though, making the flamethrowers more effective. And there you go, Frost sends those Volksgrenadiers running with fire. Sis3 holding back here, no mortars though for Frost. Again, I do think that could help a bit here. Sandbags going up around the centre. And Frost is standing about here, ready to fire some assault rifles. bit of shooting there, and here in the east making good progress as well. He really wants to be, I think he should at this point just try and set up the sandbags around here. I mean, that would just as well work and wouldn't be used for Gentlefox holding the point. But for some reason, he's really reluctant to doing so. So he's just denying him the fuel point rather than trying to grab it here. Fox, there's a double flamethrowers out in the open. Frost is yet by the way to go for a Doctrine. I mean, I do think he should go for one. I mean, again, considering this kind of position, you know, heavy mortars from Guard Motor here would be pretty great, actually. I mean, a regular mortar could also do the job, I think, pretty well. Got rifle maybe just, you know, buffing up the country there, making them fight better the German infantry, plus a howitzer. I suppose that he could also go for terror tactics. But we'll have to see what it is. Frost ultimate aims over versus Gentlefox was yet to actually use Doctrine. Again, I don't think we've seen any S-mines. Now, oh, it actually kind of looks like maybe S-mines. Hard to say that, but probably not. Either way, though, it would be nice if Gentlefox would use his Doctrine, though, in the first place. There you go, folks. They're dealing with the conscripts up close. The assault rifle does give them a bit of an edge there, and without submachine guns, I mean, Frost doesn't really sort of that way fight them equally. And there you go, quick artillery hit. They're almost wiping out the conscripts. Need to retreat those pretty rapidly. Frost is still yet to go for a Doctrine. He's usually going there for something much sooner and had a big effect there versus opponent. There you go. Ends up going for terror tactics and shock troopers. But you know, you could have had the shock troopers out sooner. That would also have a big an impact then on Gentlefox rather than now, where, well, I mean, he's going to have more time to bleed out Frost in the time than, you know, set things there. But either way, we got the shock troopers out here for Frost. The assault engineers, as they were technically actually were, with body armor and submachine guns and large satchels with grenades. We got a truck out there for Gentlefox, and the 315 volt's going to do the short. Engineers quickly setting up demo charts there by the house, ready to trap some fascists and blow them to bits. And back here, healing reinforcement going on. Gentlefox doing his best to push back, gain territory, and there go engineers in this case, setting up sort of an expected retreat path. Good work. Then again, he must have just done it more by action spot, realising then sort of trying already to veer into it specifically. Field gun hanging back there so far. Frost hasn't had much use for it. Gentlefox hasn't exactly had a lot of vehicles out. He partly hasn't had time for it because he's been saving up for the Schwerpanzer quarters, which is now setting up there around the fuel point. If Frost can disrupt it, this would be a huge victory for Frost over Gentlefox. And there you go, Shocks getting here. The Volksgun is quickly rushing back towards the house. Quickly barricades the door and open up on those shite-eating Russen. And there you go, got a smoke grenade. Actually, that's a pretty nice move there. Instead of just wasting grenades there where they could just dodge it, he just prevented them from firing in the first place. And there you go, catching here the Schwerpanzer quarters. That's going to be a bit of loss there for Gentlefox if not careful. Now he's following up the grenade while then Gentlefox's attention is preoccupied elsewhere. That was a nice sort of follow-up there by Frost. Good work. Schwerpanzer quarter is cancelled. He got some of the resources back, but the thing to keep out by the Schwerpanzer quarter or any truck you sort of set up there, the more damage it is, by the time you cancel it, the less resources you get back there. So in this case, Gentlefox did not get a lot back there. He's going for another truck, so he might be planning a mechanized regiment instead here versus Frost. At this point, of course, he might be worried the course is going to get hit by the KV-8 if he's paid attention to the Doctrines. I mean, there's only one Doctrine with shock troopers, and that one does have access to the KV-8. But interesting enough, I mean, Frost could, you know, checked up. He could have gone for something from his, you know, tank-to-tank command, but as of yet, he hasn't bothered with, say, a T-70, a T-6, or even a half-track, which could be quite helpful, in particular when combined with the shock troopers. He's popping here. Fear propaganda artillery around his fort retreat point. That seems a bit wasteful. And a bit expensive. My God, it's paper! I've always had a deadly fear of paper. Sturmpile standing about there. And got a big push up towards the copper on the maximum suppression. A lot of the troops here could do some excellent damage. Got Molotov off as well. Good work. Retreat here. Artillery fire, they're going off rather close range against the maximum, doing a ton of damage. Nice work there by Gentlefox. Oh, the maximum gets whacked to try to recruit, but ends up. Oh, huge losses here for Frost. Huge losses. So many losses there. That was. Oh, nice turnaround there by Gentlefox. Nice turnaround. Remember, the closer you are to the artillery piece, the more accurate it is. So, that did not work out well for Frost at all. Though he's still got most of the map here. We've got Sturmpiles with minesweepers advancing, clearing the terrain of any traps Frost might have laid down for Gentlefox and his men. Also a lot of assault rifles up here for Gentlefox. I'm surprised he's just floating that many resources. Again, there's just been no sign of, you know, light vehicles, no T-70s. I mean, really, a T-70 right now would be absolute hell for Gentlefox to deal with. So I'm a bit surprised there's just No attempt at it. Instead, now seems to be taking up here for the mechanized armor company, which is also great. It's just, I don't know, I feel like the T-70 here, in this case, a bit of missed opportunity. He could also just go for a half track. I mean, a lot of things he could have done, but ultimately ended up not doing, and now he's got a machine gun there in Gentlefox's hand. Rushing straight into it and quickly suppressed it point blank, running some problems. And we got KV-8 tanks now available for Frost and the Rifle Division. Technically, by this point in the war, they probably use T-34s for flamethrowers mounted in the place of the whole machine gun. There you go, moving eastwards, quickly securing there. Grabbing away as much territory from Frost as humanly possible. Bit of shooting there, minor engagements. So the map choice sort of swinging back and forth there again. Frost sort of having the advantage, but A, not mining, and B, again, not utilising his light tech to at least, punish Gentlefox what he could. Actually suffering up quite a bit there once Gentlefox and sort of, upgrades all his faults going to do with assault rifles. But again, had he actually T-70s out, he could actually done a lot of damage, I think, there to Gentlefox, in particular around the Battle Group headquarters. A T-70 right there would have been gold. I think that could have been a GG moment there. But again, he seems more interested, in the mechanized armor company, so I can understand that. But, when you sort of got this kind of golden opportunity, there's a part of me that thinks, light vehicle would have been absolutely amazing there. But enough about that. Frost is still suffering under Gentlefox when he's got the shock troopers and can soon call in the KV-8. A lane for the tank. This time from the analysis in terms of damage. Pretty close. Kills wise, Gentlefox got a lead. No surprises there. Army value wise. Bit of a divergence here again, sort of getting close there, but then boof. And that's probably around there we suffered all of a sudden some heavier losses there to Gentlefox. Visual float wise, we can again see he's sort of floating more again. Gentlefox, less so. In fact, he's going for a Puma here again. He's expecting the light vehicles, but again, a T-70 fast out there could really throw a wrench into Gentlefox's plans. And points held, again, more control here for Frost, but again, some slight dips there. Sort of he suffers losses and then struggles to control the map. So again, he's going for the KV-8 here. Good handling of it. Can do a lot of damage. It can burn out Gentlefox. Can make it hard for him to use the buildings and so on there. So, effective use of it can be quite a problem there for Gentlefox since he does lack a lot of anti-tank weapons. But still, he needs to be a bit careful with that. I think he should support it with something from the light, tank-to-tank commander afterwards. Issue 6 to help, deal with other vehicles. Maybe artillery support or, a T-70. Just something there to further, pressure Gentlefox. Also, a few mines in there at certain points could do a lot, I think, to slow down Gentlefox as well. And I think a howitzer piece would be absolutely amazing. Again, Gentlefox has got so much around here, and this is absolutely a great spot there. So set up, say, the howitzer around here, and then you sort of what kind of deal, what's the opponent sort of is around here, just hammer it and murder a lot of, Gentlefox infantry. A howitzer would be gold. As for Gentlefox, Puma here, certainly a bit of silent desperation there for Gentlefox, but of course he can also go for Pack 43s himself, or a howitzer. Overall, I do think, though, Gentlefox needs to lay down some mines. Get some S-mines down, Gentlefox. Get some bunkers down, fortify, dig in, prepare for the next assault. Hammer your. That way, try to, grasp and grapple with the enemy. And certainly try to buy time and then bring up actual armor. But let's return to the fight and see what happens here. Also, fun fact about the KV tank series, the Germans actually managed to capture several, and in one case that they actually upgraded it to have the same gun as the Panzer IV. That is the higher velocity gun, by the way, not the short velocity one. But overall, the KV series sort of several versions. You had the K1, the KV-1S, I think, which was sort of a faster version. But the problem is they realised it was just more expensive T-34-6, and that was kind of rubbish. Then you have the KV-2, you have the KV-8, and you also have the KV-85, which is basically a KV tank with a bigger treadle gun, sort of like, what the T-35 was to the T-34-6, the KV-85 was to the KV-1. Sort of was also the interim solution between the sort of the KV series and the IS-2 series. So that's sort of a fun fact there. There you go, got the KV-8 rolling ahead here, Fox being pushed back. By on the move there for Frost. Fox a bit of trouble here with the CIS-3 field gun. Puma moving in here. Need to switch over to the 45mm gun there to deal with that. As for the Germans and flamethrower tank, they had sort of a few things. You had the Flammhetzer, obviously, which was a later version. You had the Flammpanzer III, which was a flamethrower tank based on the Panzer III. And you also had some based on French tanks that actually captured the Char B specifically. where they then sort of took out the hull-mounted gun for a flamethrower. They got K8 moving away here towards infantry there. He might consider the sector of field gun. Needs to support KV8. Again, the H-6. German troops they're being pushed back as the Stalin Dragon spews fire. And there you go. Puma engages again with its high-velocity 50mm gun. They were technically the same guns as the Panzer III. It's the last ones. That were 50mm. Obviously, the last gun to be used on the Panzer III was actually on the Panzer III Model N, which was a low-velocity gun, a bit like the Stug E. And they were basically meant for infantry support. In fact, they were initially part of Tiger battalions to support the Tigers infantry support-wise. Fun fact. Light gun turning right there, more fire being spewed in the general direction there of Gentlefox's men. Looks like he's going to light the church on fire. He's shooting here, Max pushing forward, supported by infantry. I mean, he's got the mechanised armour company. Of course, another question is, would he not been better off just going for T-34s and 6s instead of calling in the KV-8? And he could have, you know. I mean, he could have then quickly brought up another T-34s and 6, which also been pretty great versus the Puma. They need to pull back the Puma. There we got more shock troops out here for Frost. KV-8 rolling down. There we go. Puma takes a hit there from the field gun. This is 3. We got Frost flanking a big clump there of German infantry. Need to be careful there from Gentlefox. KV-8 there opens up, fire, burning, and he needs to bring up the more flamethrowers, but Gentlefox orders men to continue through the inferno. He does not care. The end justifies the means. It's clearly what Gentlefox is thinking as all of a sudden he smells a lot of bacon. Field gun never got cleared out, and that was his primary goal there, allowing his Puma then to clear out the KV-8, though again at a rather high cost, I would say. And there you go, the KV-8 gets knocked out here. Quite a loss there for Frost versus Gentlefox. Field gun they're being quickly recruited by Fultz gun. He's got the shock troops moving in there. Gonna try and see again. Puma fires away. They're not quite too effective versus those chaps. Got a kill there with the Puma main gun there. We got Gentlefox moving in. Field gun they're being stolen away here by Frost. And there goes shock troops tank from the other side here, catching at least some of the weapons there. Could clear out the field gun, denied. Constant following up. There we go. Could clear out the Maxim with a quick grenade. There we go. Too slow, but still pushing back here. Gentlefox from the centre, from the cemetery. And there's numerous Russians have to be interred, plus a bunch of Germans. Big force moving in, and that's pretty much a blob at this point, though he's reacting swiftly there, so I suppose there's not much choice, but still, Mon is irked here. There we go, we can see he's quickly splitting up here, smoke screen off here. In this case, he just covered the retreat of his men, as Frost realises he's rather gone into a nasty place he doesn't want to be. Field gun recruit, growing points here. Another Max really would be great, or just, you know, T-34 in his 6. Again, I'm not entirely sure if overall shock doctrine was the best choice here for Frost. I think he would have been better off with Gart Rifle or Gart Motor in this case. I mean, Gart Rifle again would allow him to get much more of his conscripts, Guardsmen to support them. Plus, of course, the House, I mean, will still be available. Plus, instead of, yes, you know, going for T-34s and 6s, which I also think would have been more help here to Frost versus Gentlefox at the moment.
Our territory is falling into enemy hands.
At this point, though, Frost is just suffering heavy manpower bleeds, so he can't even go for the House at this point if he wants to, I think.
A sector has been cut off.
Truck there on the way for Gentlefox again. Take up going on, going for the fuel point there, going points here as well. An aggressive push, and Swift is carrying the front line there. A few sandbags here, and there we go. Could easily make it a lot easier than to defend against any counterattacks from Frost. Looks like Gentlefox is going to go for the spare punted quarters again. Maxim firing away there. Opening up, and the Fultz gun is exposed out in the open while the others finish the cover up. And there we go. Lightning gun gets some excellent hits in there. Virtually too. Shock troops the ones leading the assault. Here we got the Maxim covering up. Going to need smoke grenades to sort of screen up against. There we go. Very nice work there. Smoke screen on the other side as well there. He's been good use of turning the gate. There's much firepower there from Gentlefox. There he goes, using zeroing artillery. So he's actually now utilising the doctrine here to basically force Frost to get off the point there, suffer excruciating losses to the artillery. Here we go, we got more fire going on there. Artillery begins raining down there. Maxim needs to get the devil out of there, pushing forward. Maxim being pushed back here. Big swarming assault here, following up the smoke screen. Grabbing the western fuel point here. Frost struggling in the field department here versus Gentlefox. Shock troopers continuing in here. We got shock troopers from the south here. Shock troopers. Poor pronunciation of that one. Close to Victory 2 there. Troops healing, reinforcing. Puma there, halfway to Victory 2, but Frost is taking a beating in the process. An absolute thrashing here. Fresh smoke screen there. Starting to keep up the fight here versus Gentlefox's trucks move down here, back here, reinforcement healing going on. Grabbing some munitions and grabbing the victory point as well. Victory point, so it is close between the two here. Fox was moving in. And the second spare Panzer's course here attempted now by Gentlefox on the 315th Volksgrenadier Division Engineers versus Volksgrenadiere, and here points being secured as well as rapidly as possible. Mechanized Armor Company. He can almost go for the T-34-76. Almost. I mean, thing is, Frost still got Gentlefox got very little anti-tank, so I mean, T-34-76 it could still be pretty good. Could still be pretty good. Sandbags up here. Points are being seized, going for the eastern victory point once more. And Engineers pushing forward into the centre here. We got Veteran 3 up. 5 kills. Hardened Pyromaniacs. Got the shock troops moving out again. Fresh Maxim out there as well. Frostbank's got 2 Maxims out now. That should help here contain Gentlefox's infantry. Just feels a bit late by now. In particular, he's got 2 artillery pieces there against him. Big Folks going to push in towards west against the conscripts there. Maximum supporting here. Not quite within range there though. And Shock's something to do with the Folks. We've got 2 squads here. So there we go. Wipe the unit. Another loss for Frost here and the 214th Rifle Division. Boomer firing away. Smokescreen could be a helpful thing here. And there you go. Pops it. Good job there. He's making active use of smoke grenades. Good to see there from Frost. Though part of me still thinks just a mortar at some point can know great help. And also allowed to lay down smoke screens more preemptively. That hangs you get so damn close, have to throw a regular one there, the RGD-1 smoke grenade. Peppering the victory point there, but till if I got the Maxim in trouble, the Folks Grenadiers got the victory point being secured here as well. And we got the Maxim being pushed back. So again, he's managed to push back. Gentlefox, it has nonetheless come, I think, at a high loss here to Frost. And the question is, can he really maintain sort of this rate of attrition and trying to gain territory? I mean, he needs some armor support out. And he can certainly go for the T-34-76 now, which I think would be a very excellent choice here. Pretty good at dealing with infantry. He can certainly deal with a Puma. Plus, he can then follow up quickly with another tank. So far, no sign of that. I don't hope he's thinking for another KB8, because right now, again, that requires Gentlefox to be a lot more dug in than he is. And so far, he isn't quite as dug in. I mean, there hasn't, for example, been a lot of bunkers either, so I don't feel like there's a lot there where the KB8 would sort of be super necessary when it got just, T-34-76s would be faster, meaner, harder. There we go, Betsy 2 there for the shock troopers.
Our territory is falling into enemy hands.
Troops reinforcing healing. I mean, there are times where the KB8 will be great. I just don't feel like, in the current circumstances, the KB8 is the greatest choice here for Frost. And again, if Gentlefox used a lot of machine guns and all those kind of things, they used to house a lot there. I mean, great, KB8 would have been awesome, but the problem is, Gentlefox's force is largely infantry, which again, is rather where T-70s and T-34-76s would excel, or maybe a Katyusha. It's just, he seems more concerned now trying to get KB8s out here to work. Or, had Gentlefox dug in a lot of trenches, the KB8 would have been great, but Gentlefox hasn't used trenches either. Granted, most German players don't use trenches because they can easily Molotov, because, that just turns them into barbecue pits. I mean, once Frost went for the Molotov there, he rather negated any idea they have Gentlefox making use of the trenches. All the way though, KB out number 2 for Frost. I definitely think this is a bad idea there by him. Bad idea. Again, circumstantially, it's not the most effective thing here. And it's also quite expensive. I mean, again, those 2 KB8s there could at least, I think, paid for about, 3 T-34-76s. That's not exactly, small change, and will probably have a bigger impact, and again would have been a lot harder for the Puma to deal with. Next man spotted by Spare Panther quarters 5 sorts moving in there. We got a pack for the free up here as well for Gentlefox. Now, fun fact about that one, actually exists a field gun version of the Pak 43, which meant they could also use as artillery. Second maximum handed over there to Gentlefox, and the 315th Fultz Grenadier Division. KV-8 then the Prowl, and there it goes, spotted by the Puma. Still using the flamethrower here. Still just using the flamethrower. So that's another weapon they added to Gentlefox's arsenal. Puma there gaining better to expose the rearmament to the Puma, by the way. Not the best move there, I think, there by Frost at all. Puma going in there for a quick flank. Nope. Disengages. Quick move towards the centre here. Pak 43 though gets an absolutely devastating hit off against the KV-8 there. Pantherpass following up there. KV-8 there just beyond the range. We've got the Puma moving in there for the kill. Advancing, and there we go. Knocks out the KV-8 tank. Leaving nothing but burning steel and flesh. Unit there wiping the centre. More burning flesh, as most of Frost's Incendia units are combusting under German fire. Smoke grenade off, but not before taking a hit there from the light infantry gun, plus again suffering from the flamethrowers that burst previously. So this is looking pretty increasingly rough here for Frost. Got Propagandacaster going around to the centre here. We got troops pushing up here as well. Gentlefox starting up for a pretty rough start. Has now sort of managed to gain, I think, very solid control there over Frost here. Action there close to being wiped. Fultz goes flanking up behind here, straight into the flamethrowers. Troops advancing. Big push here. Troops suppressed. Overall looks very much like GG here for Frost. He's not got a lot of troops left. Most of them are in fact what you'd call very much dead. So stoic defense here by the 315th Fultz Grenadier Division, fighting hard in defense of the Reich. Without trenches though. No trenches. Again, I kind of wish they'd make trenches more worth it for the Germans. I kind of wish they'd try and make trenches more worth it for the Germans, to be honest. I don't think they need to do a lot with them, I just think they need to do them, slightly more worth it. Bit of shooting there. Almost got the shock troopers, and yeah, I think this is GG. I don't think there's any way Frost can get back from this. At this point, Gentlefox just got so much control, so much firepower, and, well, there he goes, Frost surrenders. Lost there for the 214th Rifle Division. The assault called off, and the commander recalled to Moscow for a very, very serious talk with Stalin. Gentlefox to pull through again. Rough start there again. I would not say the most efficient. I think it was too defensive, too slow, too passive in some ways, not focused, and overall not really sort of placed in very well with the Orbital Commando was placed out. Frost started out well, but the problem is Frost sort of struggled to sort of take the good early game into a good mid and late game, which again can be a problem for some players. I mean, again, he tagged up, but he never utilized the tech. I mean, he went for the Mechanized Armor Company. That's basically two buildings that basically did nothing. That was a wasted resource there for Frost, who then proceeded to go for the KV-8 despite the situation didn't call for it. And even then, his doctrinal choice I felt was rather late. Overall, I think had Frost chosen a doctrine sooner, and yes, maybe another doctrine choice at all, I think could have done a lot better there, but also make better use of his tech, which again also would have benefited Frost a lot more versus Gentlefox. And again, an early T-70 I think could have closed that game right on the spot, or even just a fast T-34M6 could also maybe have done a bit there, but ultimately Frost never quite went for it, and instead went for the KV-8, and that I think rather than ultimately his part there would just cost Frost the game there. So while again initially good efforts, but just sort of rather undone by some, I think, very questionable strategic choices there. And again, Gentlefox tactically not very strong in the early game, but managed to turn around there longer term with a better strategy there and better tactics, punishing Frost there. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. Hope it gives you different matches. If it did, why not subscribe, tell your friends, share it with everyone. If not, send in a replay and provide some feedback in the comment section. This is Imperial Ding. Cheers. Thank you all for watching. Hope to see you tomorrow for another exciting episode. Bye.